And we are live in 2025 on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. We are having an error on Instagram. Not sure what went wrong there, but we're just going to keep on trucking. But Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you are scrolling the socials wide-eyed this new year and you all set some lovely intentions. And hopefully you can just tune in and, maybe grab some coffee and come on back because Wednesday is a daytime episode now. I'm tuning in from my brother and sister-in-law's house in the Chicago area. So I'm not in my regular Ohio location, but hopefully you can all hear me well. And if you are there tuning in, let us know. Keep us honest from the comments, chat. Let us know. I'm going to put it up on the comments or up on the screen if you do comment, but let us know where you're tuning in from. What did you do over the new year? But in the meantime, we have a really interesting guest and she's doing really interesting things. And I was just talking to her pre-show about a whole bunch of other things. So I know that you're really going to appreciate her, but I'm interested in hearing all of the work that she's done in the healthcare industry because I'm sure you all hear the news all the time. Like healthcare it's a lot, right? And dealing with insurance, no matter what you think, it is a topic of discussion and everyone has their opinions on it. But at the end of the day, maybe it's going to be entrepreneurs and technology and solutions who, move us forward. But without going any further, I want to go ahead and welcome in our guest. But before I do so, I want to say a big thank you to Cherry Assistant for making this episode possible by putting together all the, infographics. And, Layla, she is the VA I've been working with. And it's just been a really incredible experience, especially being live on the holidays. I'm sure it's super annoying for her, but she's still been really helpful. Even though I'm like, log off, I'm sorry. I'm like, I always try to send notes. But anyway, I digress. They've been amazing. And if you're an entrepreneur who needs help and you work odd end hours and you want someone who's going to fit your mold, Cherry Assistant places you with a VA that will work for you, that has the skills you need. I digress. I want to go ahead and welcome to the show, Kayla Shawn. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I warned you pre-show about our introduction, but here on Wednesday, we put a 2-minute clock on the screen and we want to hear your full life story from, birth to what brought you to now and in 2 minutes, but, skipping all the stuff we can find on LinkedIn. We don't want to hear your resume and your list of accomplishments. We want to know the real Kayla, the real human that we're about to talk to, because we're going to hear, how amazing and incredible and all the accomplishments that you've had. And also everyone, if you're tuning in, go find her on LinkedIn and you can see a lot of that. But tell us about you, Kayla.
Yeah. So quick 2 minutes. My name is Kayla Shawn. I grew up only child of divorced parents, actually. So that was a really interesting time because that happened when I was really young. And I've always been that kid in school who would nerd out about healthcare, which even at a young age was kind of odd for someone my age. But I've always really liked healthcare, and I actually wanted to go into it as a dermatologist. And then I quickly switched from dermatology to ER. And then I went into the ER and did some rounds and was like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. And slowly worked towards the healthcare technology side of things and the innovation side. But I am someone who you'll find is extremely competitive. So anyone who knows me knows that I love, love, love to win at anything, even as something as small as Pilates. I try to make a competition out of everything. But I really, really value the people in my life, my family, especially my grandmother, who was, the whole reason behind the Healthcare Navigator. But I really do cherish the people who are in my life because they've inspired me so much in everything that I've done. And I would say that people who know me know that I am someone who I really value. I value progress, and I also value people who, do what they say they're going to do. Integrity is really important to me, especially in life, in a time where it seems like sometimes people, don't have that much integrity. And so I really value that part of who I am and in my life. Hopefully I made the clock.
Yeah, all under 2 minutes, and I hear you there. There's something to be said about people who do what they say they're gonna do, right? Who follow
Yes.
through.
Yes.
Yeah, and you
I
have to be that person when you're an entrepreneur.
Yes, I think when you meet people who have that integrity, it really helps trust wise, right? And not just in business, but I think in life. If you say you're going to do something, or you say that you believe in XYZ, it really does hurt your credibility when you don't do that thing. And everyone's human, so there's room for mistakes and things that just slip up because you couldn't have made it happen. But I always say, at the very least, did you try? If you actually did try your hardest and it just didn't happen, that's acceptable, I think, because not everything's going to happen, especially when you try your hardest. But at the very least, did you attempt? And I think that plays a role in integrity, because it requires you going out of your way, doing something uncomfortable to fulfill whatever it is you said to that other person. And so I think in business and in life, that's just something that I've held dear to me.
Yeah, no, well, I appreciate that and I respect that a lot. And I think a lot of people do. And if you're tuning in, be sure to comment. I know people are probably scrolling on their phones right now, and just watching from bed and just waking up from the new year, which happy
Right.
2025 once again.
Happy
But I'm going to go ahead and just get into our first topic. So, the first topic is reading the room, marketing based on relevancy and collective feelings. So, could you kick us off and talk to us a little bit about this?
Yeah, I think that so in business, right, you have the side of marketing that people know textbook wise, but when it comes to the most successful parts of marketing, which is the basis of marketing, is reaching people where they're at and communicating to them in a way that says, hey, my business or my service, fulfills whatever need that you have, and our business understands your needs. And I think when it comes to the relevancy part, it's really important, because people, collectively, especially in America, there's so many times where everything is changing in our society, and everyone has constantly different needs as our society changes. And so with that, it's really important when it comes to the relevancy part that your business or your service is changing with the times to meet those needs, right? We're at a time where the antiquated sort of traditional things are proving to not really be able to stand up to the changes that we're having right now. And so with that comes, changing either your service or your product, just to make sure that it's relevant in a way. So for example, everyone nowadays is on their phone, right? People buy groceries on their phone. They can pick up their dry cleaning, etc., get it delivered. So everyone in our society is used to that convenience. They're used to that technology based solution. And so when it comes to things like healthcare, the industry of healthcare is known to be a bit antiquated and a bit below the times. It kind of takes us a while to catch up. And what we're seeing with patients is that they are looking for things that allow them to have that same convenience that, let's say, shopping on Amazon gets them, or ordering groceries from Instacart gets them. And so that's kind of what we've done for the relevancy part, is helping to shape healthcare so that you get that same convenience, but just for healthcare. And so it's all about making sure that whatever your service has it aligns with what your customer needs and what they want preference wise.
Yeah, and that doesn't always seem to happen in healthcare.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, so how can you break through and make it different? I mean, it's got to be a challenge because this is such a huge institution.
Yeah, well, so for those who don't know, I run the Healthcare Navigator, which is a healthcare navigation company that helps patients, it's in the name, navigate healthcare. So, for example, a lot of people have trouble understanding the prices for procedures, right? You can't just Google the price for a procedure at your hospital. That's not how it works. Same thing for quality scores. Most people can't just look up the quality score of the hospital that they want to go to. And so we've consolidated all that information that you need to know, right? So people on our app, they're able to they're able to compare and find prices for the procedures that they want at the hospitals in their area. Same thing for the clinical quality scores. You're able to see how your hospital or doctor matches up with the clinical metrics that CMS has provided. We help with medical bill negotiation, right? So you can just upload your medical bill and our app analyzes the bill, finds any errors or overcharges, and then helps you negotiate it with the hospital. So things like that, providing people with low-cost medications, low-cost labs. We touch on all of the pain points that patients have, and we provide those solutions to you in an app. And so the way that we've done that is it's been very meticulous. It's not easy because healthcare, the pain points in healthcare are so much, right? There's so many aspects, even the features that I just listed off. I think I just listed off about 6 or 7 in one app. And so it's not an easy feat by any means. But what I think the collective, and this goes back to the relevancy part, right? The collective mindset and what a lot of Americans are reckoning with right now, especially as we head into 2025, is that healthcare, we've all known it's broken, but now people are at their breaking point. Like they are tired of it being broken, right? And
Right.
so we've, fortunately and unfortunately, have been able to create our app. So, at a time like this where people are looking for ways to, make the system work for them, they're finding our app to have that happen in an easy way. And so, just taking in terms of how we did it, I would say it's more so about, again, that relevancy part. So everyone's been a patient or everyone's been affected by healthcare. I've worked, for me, I worked in corporate healthcare and I've had my own experiences with my grandma. And so seeing those aspects from both sides, I was able to kind of take a step back and look at what are the actual pain points, and then what would be, what would be a solution. I always say, I always have the phrase like, Kayla has an idea when I say it would be really cool if, XYZ, or I wish XYZ would happen. And then that's normally how our ideas come about. It's just through us actually being in healthcare and, being patients in the system and, identifying those issues that everyone's dealing with.
Man, that's so powerful. I just messaged someone who I was just talking to. I mean, I think we all know someone, right, who has either been in the healthcare system with issues or knows someone. I mean, I knew someone who was just yesterday sitting in the health or in a hospital with an uncle, right? And he's messaging like, oh my gosh. Um, and so it's just like,
Yeah.
you need to listen in on this because there's not just you who is dealing with this, and there's ways that apparently we can come together as a community, like you said, collective feelings, come
Right.
together and share basically reviews, quality score
Yeah.
of some of these services. I mean, I think that's so fascinating. But you've mentioned now twice your grandma. Would it
Mhm.
be okay? I mean, may I ask, could you tell us a little bit about like that story there and what
Yeah.
happened to impassion you so much?
Yeah. So everyone knows me knows that I love her dearly. She's quite literally my
Aw.
best friend. And so she means like the world to me. And at the time, I was working for a hospital association or corporation, sorry. And, when you're so being in that side of healthcare definitely gives you like an inside look into the hospital side of things, right? But for her, when I started noticing that she was having issues, both just from like a financial aspect for healthcare, and also, the fact that she's just getting older and she does need more, interactions with the healthcare system, right? She needs her checkups. She needs, certain procedures and things like that to keep healthy. And so what I noticed was it was not easy for her at all. Every time she either had to get a doctor's appointment or was trying to figure out in-network doctors, out-of-network doctors, figuring out what her her deductible was, max out of pocket, all of those things, it was just so overwhelming for her. And on top of that, the most important thing that I took away from that was that she had no way of finding what hospital was performing the best clinically, right? She had no way of knowing who the best was. She maybe saw a pretty ad on the highway. She maybe saw, an ad on social media, but there was no way for her to know. And then, same thing for the prices of things. She normally found out the actual price of a procedure after the fact instead of beforehand. And so it's those things where, it doesn't make intuitive sense, because the way we shop for clothes, if I say I want to be on a $100 budget, but I'm not looking at the price tags for things, then how am I expected to stay within that budget? That's like the $1 million question. And so it's
Right.
the same thing applied to healthcare, because I believe the stat was about 60% of bankruptcies in America are due to medical bills, like being behind on your medical bill,
Mm.
and the cost of the medical expenses being so high for people that they had to, file for bankruptcy. And so it's things like that. When I would talk to her, I obviously had been in healthcare, so I knew what hospitals were good and what weren't, because I had that insider information, right? But the average patient doesn't. The average patient doesn't have access to clinical quality metrics. They don't have access to the claims data and prices for procedures and et cetera. And it's extremely complicated for the average patient to go and find those things on their own. And it's not, accessible like it is just to find
Right.
a first shirt. It's just not.
That's right. Can I
So
get a menu? Like walking into the hospital, like, can I see a menu of services, please?
Exactly. And even then it's hard because everyone has different insurances. So the prices it's going to differ based off of your insurance, and
You
it's
get
going
the
to
blue
differ.
menu, you get the gold menu.
Exactly. And so, and also like the price for a procedure at one hospital can differ significantly compared to another one. We were helping a patient the other day, and because she was part of one of our employer groups, and I think it was for like a brain scan, I believe, and it differed from one hospital. One hospital was like $1,200. Another one was, I think, $350. Another one was $2,000. And so it just kept fluctuating back and forth. And most people think that the quality of a hospital correlates with the price, right? That's how we think for like products and goods normally. That's not the case. The price of the procedure has no correlation with the quality at all. And like that's what people see on our app, because you're able to see both at the same time, the performance, the clinical performance of that hospital past wise, and the price for that procedure. And there have been so many studies on this, how quality isn't correlated with price, but that's something that I think the healthcare system is able to capitalize on, because most people think that higher price, higher quality, and so they're able to kind of justify that higher price even though that's not the case. And so it's things like that where I really just got frustrated, because I was like, why is it that you have to be in the industry? Why is it that you have to be on the inside in order to know the information that everyone should know, right? Because this is
Right.
like, it's not a, stock secrets. It's not like it's life and death. That there is no, it should not be that way, in my opinion. I don't think it has any place for that. And so that's really why I started it, because I saw that really bad discrepancy, and it just shouldn't be that way. And it just takes people who care a lot, because it's not easy. So it takes someone who cares a lot to, take all that information and provide it to people. I think you may have cut out a bit. I believe she may have cut out. Yeah, she might be coming back in. I believe she may be having some technical difficulties.
Hello. Looks like I lost internet. Are you still
There we go.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Thanks for waiting around.
No, you're good. You're good. I assumed so.
Yeah, the internet went out, and then I connected it with my phone, whatever, Bluetooth or hotspot. So I think we're good to go now.
Okay. No,
All right. So I guess where I was still listening to you the story about your grandma, and I think we were kind of getting into like the quality piece, and in every other industry, it's based on quality, right? And so it's just, I don't know. In the meantime, like no one's making any changes, so you guys have created a solution for the marketplace. So now we can go figure out what all the prices are and what these menus are. I mean, I guess probably to the best of your ability, but could you talk to us a little bit about knowing your customers? And I mean, because you probably have to really know your customers to know like what's their insurance, what's their ailments, like what's their doctors like, what are their doctors like? And then just in general, like healthcare consumerism of today. Could you kick us off on this one?
Yeah. So I would say that for So for the Healthcare Navigator, we have, I always say, like two separate customers. So we first have individuals, so individuals and families who just find our app and want to use it for their families. And then we also have our employer side. And so for the employer side, it's interesting because employers, I don't think they're talked about enough when it comes to healthcare and healthcare costs, right? Because if you're an employee of a company, your employer they take on costs to provide you with healthcare, like healthcare insurance and things like that. So they normally have a premium based off of past claims. And that means that so let's say Susie from marketing, for example, had like a really bad car accident and had to, get a lot of surgery and things like that. And so the cost for her, her healthcare was, let's say, $50,000, right? That claim that's going to dock as a claim because it's, let's say, like a receipt basically that she had she had the surgery done and it cost a lot of money. This goes back to the employer, and that affects the employer's healthcare costs because now that will likely impact the premium rising for that business, because now their insurance company is seeing that actually your employees are, they have more utilization of healthcare. And so because of that, the premium is going to go up. That's normally how it goes. And so a lot of employers now, because of the way that insurance has gone, they've been taking a few different approaches to healthcare, right? So you're seeing a lot of employers, they have decided to become self-funded or level funded, which basically means that they're straying from the traditional sense of insurance, and they are just going to be responsible for their own, their employees' healthcare, right? So not in the traditional sense where everyone pays a premium and you put it into this bucket of money, and then you're able to extract some when you need it. So now it's just, it's a way for employers really to like only take on their costs. And so with those employers, we're seeing a lot of big companies do that now because it's cheaper and it's more cost effective for them to only, take care of their employees instead of the traditional sense of insurance. And so with that, employers are looking for ways to be able to help guide their employees to quality care sites. And that's where they're coming to us for that. So for example, your employer does not want you to go to a hospital that has really bad quality metrics, right? In the past, they have not performed well when it comes to the outcomes of things. And that can mean that they've had a high complication rate for surgeries. That can mean that, a lot of people in that hospital had acquired infections because they were in that hospital. So things like that, just from a human side, no one wants you to go to that hospital. But again, it's that issue where most people don't know. They have no idea what hospital is good and which one's bad. They don't have those, those numbers. And so your employer will look to us to help guide you because we do have those numbers, right? We do have that evidence. We do have those prices. And so we can help you in showing you literally what hospitals are quality care sites so that you don't end up going to, a hospital with a high complication rate, because complications can range anywhere from $15,000 to $60,000 in terms of an add-on to your medical bill. So that means that, you go in there for a surgery and then you get a complication that will add on anywhere from $15,000 to $60,000 onto your existing medical bill as it is. So that alone, we don't want that, both from a, clinical side. We don't want you to have to go through that. And we don't want you to have to go through that from a financial side, because, people do have to pay, it's not just your employer taking on all of the costs. You yourself, as the employee, also have to take on some of the costs as well. So for both parties, it is in the best interest to, have the Healthcare Navigator to avoid that altogether. And so, knowing that we really do cater to both the employee and the employer. And so we have to know what the employer wants from a side of, being cost effective and quality care, because as the employer, right, you want to make sure that your workforce is productive, you're not having a lot of turnover, et cetera, things like that. You want to make sure that they're healthy enough to do the work. And I always say, like, if you're not healthy, you can't go to work. That's just true. Like, if you're in the
That's
hospital
right.
for, extended period of time, you're not working. No one's working. And so, that's what the employer wants, but also they also want to make sure that their employees are satisfied. They want to make sure that their employees feel that they're being cared for. And so, especially nowadays with healthcare being such a hot topic, with everything going on from, the shooting of the United Healthcare CEO to, I'm sure you saw all of those social media posts of people like posting their medical bills and things like that. I mean, it's just been absolutely chaos right now. And so from the employee side, we cater to them as well, right? We understand that they too do not want to go into medical debt because of this, right? Because of a procedure. They want to go to a quality hospital because it's their life, right? As anyone would. And so it's really both the employer, luckily, we're in a space where both the employer and the employee want the same thing. And luckily, it's a harmonious relationship when it comes to them using the Healthcare Navigator, because they both have the same goals, and it's all about making sure you're healthy, but you're not being taken advantage of by ridiculously high prices that you didn't know beforehand, right? So I always say that we are the employers look to us as the protector, or like the big brother for their employees, to help guide them, because the average patient just doesn't have this information, and the system doesn't make it accessible for you to just Google it.
No, it absolutely does not.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much just that we're blinded by. And I never really thought about it so much until this conversation, that, we just don't know. And it does feel like it's interesting you brought up the whole like United Healthcare situation with the CEO there, but it does sort of feel like the entire country, or there's more unison in general with how people feel overall about the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, maybe even back when in 2009, when like whatever Obamacare was like being talked about, like, it was like so controversial, right? It was like, no, our
Right.
healthcare is great, right? Like some people are like, this is great.
Yeah.
But I think now, not that, it's just everyone in general has different ideas of how do we fix it. But overall, the solution of just giving people information, I don't see how that could be controversial, because like this is America and we're a capitalistic country. So why is this one industry not
Right.
having to do the capitalistic things that all the other companies and industries
Right.
do?
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that we could probably all get behind,
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I would say, because we work with so many different aspects of healthcare, right? We work with insurance, we work with hospitals, we work with doctors. Oh, I think she left again. Oh no. She's coming back, I
I'm
think.
still here. I'm just giving you the screen.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like leaving. I was like, dang, okay.
No, no, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. But no, I was saying that, we work with so many aspects of the insurance industry, hospitals, patients, employers. So we're in really the middle of everything, which is why we're seeing, it's just a lot of, all of the partners are coming to us. And I think everyone can agree, first and foremost, that, I personally don't condone any violence. But when it comes to the sentiment, I more so look at the sentiment that I think everyone can agree about, is just that patients are frustrated. That is a sentiment that is just a fact, right? It's not a opinion.
Absolutely.
It's a fact.
Yeah. Oh,
And so,
absolutely. Great point.
like,
And I don't condone
yeah,
any violence either. I think it's
yeah,
crazy how that whole media
Yeah.
story turned out.
Right.
And that's what makes me think like, man, people are really frustrated or like,
Yeah.
man, it's just he was a normal guy
Yeah.
from like Iowa, you know what I mean? Just family person as far as I know. Like
Yeah.
there was a story I heard on LinkedIn actually, or people were
Mhm.
trying to humanize the man and he
Yeah.
was doing business just like a lot of us here on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
And I
even still,
yeah, and I think that because not looking at the because I never really I don't like to pay attention to when it's in the heat of the moment. Obviously, like it's something to consider just because we're human. But like what is I always think about like what is the underlying thing, right? Because before it happened, I doubt anyone, most Americans even knew the CEO's name, right?
right.
And
No, I
so
did.
exactly.
And I
And
had to write it
so
on there. Like,
yeah, exactly. And so what is like the underlying thing? Well, the underlying thing is that people are frustrated. They do feel like the industry that was supposed to take care of them at their weakest is not doing that. And I have doctors in my family, I have nurses in my family, I have healthcare administrators in my family, insurance. So like I've seen it from all sides again, and I work in an industry in a multifaceted industry like healthcare. And so I think what is the takeaway for us moving forward is how do we cater to the patient, right? Because again, people go to what they want to go to. You're going to go to your favorite restaurant because you like the atmosphere, you like the quality of, you like that you feel like if you like that, you feel like people actually care about you. It's going to be the same thing moving forward now in 2025, and beyond. Patients will be looking for avenues to figure out who they can trust, who they feel safe with, who they'll be able to, feel informed about what decision, because ultimately people just want to make the best decision. And so I think what's going to come out of this is that everyone, both from the insurance side, the employee benefits side, hospitals, doctors, you name it, it's already become consumeristic, but it's becoming more consumeristic in the sense where people are going to be gravitating towards, you know, the insurance companies that they feel safe with, the hospitals that they feel will do a good job, the doctors that they feel like actually care about them. And it's not necessarily that everyone, it's not necessarily that the entire industry is quote unquote evil. It is just that it is not set up in a way, and I think everyone can agree with this, it is not set up in a way where a patient can easily navigate it. That's just a fact. Like you can,
yeah,
it's just
like
not
that.
easy, especially for
Yeah.
the older generation. And so I think that's the beauty of it that we're going to come out of, and I hope everyone, goes to, is how can we make this better for the patient and also just for the business side, right? You want your consumers, customers coming back to your hospital, your insurance company, your benefits consulting, whatever,
Right.
because they feel safe with you, because they are, their lives are improving through you, because they feel like they can trust you. And so that's our whole thing. And that's, what I'm seeing, especially when we see our users. We've seen a huge influx in employers, families coming to our site because of all this chaos, because everyone's coming to that reckoning that, I'm not just going to take this as it is. I'm not going to just be okay with the industry not working for me. I'm going to make it work for me. And so luckily, it's through us that we're partnering with all facets of healthcare to make it more patient centered and catering to the consumerism that patients want.
That's amazing. I mean, thank you so much for like for doing that, for taking this on. And I mean, it's such a like huge problem, right? But
Yeah.
like you didn't shy away from it. And I'm so glad that there are people like you who are going to go forward with it because it has been a problem for a really, really, really long time.
Yeah.
Um, But man, I don't really have any other questions on that. But like, what could you leave our audience with in terms of like 2025 advice? Because a lot of people are scared about healthcare right now.
Yeah.
And or even just like, businesses who are trying to provide healthcare to their employers. Um,
Well, I would say, I would say for businesses, um, if you track employee benefit surveys at all, any market intelligence platforms, when it comes to what employees want when it comes to healthcare, they will say that, I mean, it's an overwhelming majority that one, healthcare is extremely important to your prospective and your current employees, as it should be for anybody, right? If you are in an industry that is extremely dependent on human capital, you really want to lock in and hone in on providing the best healthcare, because that affects your productivity, that affects the quality of the products that they are making for you, and that affects your ability to keep a good workforce. Every business owner knows that it is so hard to find good people, and so you want to keep the good people, and you want people coming to your business. And so part of the strategy that a lot of the employers that we're working with, that they are adopting, is how can I provide the best healthcare for them? And it's not just great insurance. It is not just that. It is, how can I make sure that they know that I care about them? And so, employee steerage programs like ours at the Healthcare Navigator, like again, that I said, where we steer employees towards quality care sites and cost-effective sites, that is, that's been a proven strategy for people, not just to lower your claims, but also to make sure that your employees feel protected, because they can't just call your HR department in the middle of the night saying, what hospital do I go to? What, can you help me like figure out my benefits real quick? I don't know what my deductible is. No one's, you don't have the capacity for that, but we do on our app, and that's what our service does. And I think secondly, making sure that you understand and you start implementing innovative strategies. It is completely clear that the traditional way of doing things, you can't just do the traditional things. You have to do both the proven traditional things and the new innovative things. Healthcare changes on a dime. I mean, GLP-1s last year in 2024 was implemented and blew up everywhere. And, same thing with new breakthroughs for surgeries, medications, etc. And so healthcare is not one of those industries that is going to be stagnant. It's never going to be stagnant. And so, adopting innovations like the Healthcare Navigator that truly do both help on the side of, making sure it's convenient, but also trustworthy, and making sure that, you are implementing strategies that truly help both your employees and your bottom line, is where you're going to find the best bang for your buck. And so it's truly, adopting those innovations and, going outside of the box, because just expecting everything to stay the same, or expecting, a different outcome by doing the same thing, it's not going to work. And I think most smart business people know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for leaving us with that and for 2025. And you're right, it is the hardest part of being a business owner, it seems like, is
Yeah.
keeping people who are excited to work for you and who want to do work for you and who can do the work for you. And so, really investing in your employees is maybe something many of you who are listening to this should be considering for 2025.
Yeah.
And healthcare is super stressful for many people. I mean, I have a group coaching program, and I know there's people in there who's themselves or their families are. This is something that comes up every day. It's like this is life. We're humans. We
Yeah.
have health needs. So yeah, thank you for just being that entrepreneur in the industry who's trying to change things and keeping it at the top of our minds and humanizing all of it. from the
Yeah.
CEO, of United Healthcare to, the people who aren't getting the healthcare. Like at the end of the day, people are people, and there is an issue, and we need to stop pointing fingers, and we need to start finding solutions. And that's
Yes.
exactly what you have done, Kayla. So I really appreciate having you on this New Year's Day.
Me too.
And before we go, could you tell listeners a little bit about like who exactly do you serve? So are you guys serving the businesses? Are you serving the individuals? Also, if they wanted to work with you, how could they reach out to you?
Yeah. So we do both individuals and employers. So if you are a business owner or a leader in your company, you can have us on your employee benefits package, and we will be your employee steerage program. So again, helping guide your employees towards quality and cost-effective sites of care to lower your claims and improve your workforce. And so you can go to www.thehealthcarenav.com and I'm sure we'll put a link somewhere to book a demo with us. So you can just click contact us and book a time to do a demo, and we'll be happy to do one for you. And we'll also do a savings analysis report for you on how much we'll save you. On average, it's about $4,650 per employee that we save companies. And then for individuals, you can still go to the same website, www.thehealthcarenav.com, if you just want it for your family. We have lots and lots of mothers and fathers going to our site to, help with their kids and their family. And so you can go there as well. And then if you want to work with us, you can either go to my LinkedIn page and message me, or you can message me at Kayla, Kayla.Shawn at thehealthcarenav.com, and we can set up a meeting to discuss how we can partner with each other.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, thank you so much for joining. And I got that link right down there, right? www.thehealthcarenav.com.
Yes, you did.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. And audience, looking forward to another great Wednesday year. I'll be back in my office next week, and we're going to be having a great episode with Stephanie Couch and John Benson. So I don't know, Kayla, if you're not following Stephanie Couch, you definitely should. She is like tearing it up on LinkedIn, man. She's got Yeah, she like every post, she's getting several hundred, comments, likes, and she's another woman in a male-dominated industry. She's in construction, so it's just really interesting. Yeah, and John, I haven't met him yet. He's been introduced to me, so I'm excited to bring him on. But thank you for kicking the year off for the first Wednesday of the year, Kayla. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for having me. It was a great conversation.
Absolutely, and I'll go ahead and just close us out with a video. But have a great one.
Okay, thank you.